of the little guy, right? At their best, that's what they're about. You know what the Democrats are now comfortable with, or seemingly comfortable with? A two-tiered system in which the haves get to go into a restaurant, laugh with their friends for hours, and the people serving them are masked and wearing gloves. Or they get to walk, as AOC did, at the Met Gala, while in the background the staff look like they were in The Handmaid's Tale. I mean, this is a look that is unbelievably detrimental to them.
And jobs. The people with the, consulting jobs or whatever bullshit they do, they get to stay at home and order the food out and do shit by Zoom. Whereas it's the working class people who are breathing their shitty, stale air all day.
Yes.
That looks like it's going to create a class resentment. I mean, it looks like the liberals are always suggesting sacrifices they themselves don't have to take part in.
Look, I'm hopeful that the worst of COVID is behind us.
I'm glad you never forget you're in Congress.
There will never be an eradication of COVID, but it will become endemic. It will become no different from the seasonal flu, and there will be a return to normal.
Wait, what?
Okay, we're hopeful of that. The Democrats, and again, we're shitting on the Democrats because we want them to get better, not because we want them to lose. That should be. So, in the year 2021, in the year 2000, 14-point swing.
Yes.
In their party affiliation. At the beginning of the year, it was Democrats +9. At the end of the year, it was Republicans +5. I've never seen a swing like that in a single year. Some of that has to be COVID. Some of that I also think is crime. Let's talk about crime for a minute, because there's a lot of crimes that are now, I know this is a big issue in New York. I read the local paper there. Okay, the DA fighting with the new mayor because the mayor won on a, let's stop crime program. And not just New York, some of the things that, here we have it on the screen, thing that progressive district attorneys aren't prosecuted anymore. Larceny under $250, robbery if the gun isn't loaded, shoplifting, trespassing, if a minor is in possession of alcohol, wanton or malicious destruction of property, public transportation fare evasion, disturbing the peace, disorderly contact, receiving stolen property. I mean, it goes on and on. And people are saying, rightly or wrongly, they're saying people overreacted in 2020 after the heinous crime of the murder of George Floyd. They say then there was an overreaction, disbanding the police, a lot of talk about that. And who's going to get blamed for all this? Not the Republicans. So let me read the quote from London Breed. She is the mayor in San Francisco. I thought this was an amazing quote. It's time the reign of criminals who are destroying our city come to an end, and it comes to an end when we take the steps to be less tolerant of all the bullshit that has destroyed our city. This is how you talk like a real person. You say the word bullshit.
But the reason that that's such an important bellwether is if you go back, just wind back the clock to 2020, she was talking about being soft on crime and defunding the police. She was running around talking about that.
Oh, really?
And the switch is a great, great sign about where she thinks her base is and where she just thinks the common sense approach is. She's now declared a emergency area in the Tenderloin district, which looks like, anti-civilization to walk there. And there are parts of LA that look just the same. I think you're going to see the same sort of showdown between Alvin Bragg, the DA that you mentioned in New York, and Eric Adams, the commissioner, but it's happening with the recall of Chesapeake in San Francisco. It's happening in Philadelphia. The other day I was in San Francisco. We were walking in a beautiful park, and there was a sign that said, "This is a carjacking area. You're going to want to take everything out of your car."
Who put this sign up?
Oh, this was a government sign.
No.
Oh, yes. Oh, absolutely.
The government put up a sign that said this is a carjacking area?
Yes. And
what about alternate side of the street parking? That was still okay.
That's
crazy. That reminds me of the 70s in New York when they used the thieves would put a sign, or people would put in the sign for the thieves.
Nothing
right.
in the car.
No radio. Thank you. They would thank the thieves for not robbing them.
The soft on crime critique, to me, is more of a caricature than a fair characterization of where most Democrats stand. You know, everyone has their theories about the crime wave, and we tend to gravitate toward the theories that confirm our own ideological biases. Occam's razor holds that the simplest explanation is almost always the best. And the simplest explanation is that when you have more guns on the streets, you will have more gun violence. Right? There are more people during COVID. During COVID, more people are buying guns than ever before. More people are carrying guns illegally than ever before. More people are assembling ghost guns at home than ever before. And police departments will tell you they're finding more guns flowing in our streets than ever before.
That may be true, but that's not really what all this crime is about. It's like people are going into Targets and stores like that and just robbing them, and no one's stopping
Because,
them.
Richie, if the government announces, or if the DA in a city announces, as they have in somewhere like San Francisco, you can steal hundreds of dollars worth of stuff at Walgreens and nothing will happen to you. That is why there's private security in Walgreens, and Floss is behind the lock and key.
New York City has 5 district attorneys. There are thousands of district attorneys in America. The policies vary widely. The upward trend in gun violence is a national trend. There's something deeper than the particular policies of prosecutors and politicians. Okay. And it's the national wave of gun violence.
But we've always had a lot of guns.
We have more than ever before.
But I don't think the lack of crime
I
is
had
because
3 police officers shot in my district in the last month and a half. There was an 11-month-old child who was struck by a stray bullet. The gun violence is out of control, and my constituents want to live in an America where mothers and grandmothers are no longer bearing children and grandchildren.
Yes.
And that's a reasonable expectation.
But, Richie, don't you think there's also something at play where in lots of these blue cities, there was everyone, the chic thing to say was talking about abolishing the police and defunding the police. And you know what a lot of police officers I've spoken to in my reporting say? You want to see what the cities are like without us? Great. We're going to withdraw. I called the LAPD the other day because someone came at my friend with a knife and tried to stab him in daylight. You know what the LAPD said? What do you want us to do? I mean, isn't that a part of this?
It's important to put the numbers in perspective. You know, in 1990, when I was only 2, there were more than 2,200 murders in New York City. In 2021, there are 488. So are we reverting back to a crime wave of the 1990s? No, but I'm concerned about the outbreak of violence.
But you're blaming,
I think it's fair.
Seems like you're blaming that on guns, and I'm saying those guns were always there.
I mean,
America always had a lot of guns.
We have the same violent gangs that we did before. The difference between then and now is those gangs have access to more guns. You can purchase gun components online and assemble a gun at home to an extent that you could have never done before.
Okay, well, let's go on to another topic.